anytime you see something like a Zenyatta and an Ana, a Zenyatta and an Ana is really, really quite a greedy composition. It's hard to stay alive, but it's got a really large amount of offensive power and utility. Nano Boost is fantastic. Transcendence, one of the most powerful ultimates in the entire game. It's just such a greedy composition. And if you can stay alive on this composition, fantastic. If not, usually one of you is going to have to switch, and it usually is going to want to be a Lucio. And here, Lucio would be so, so nice. In that Lucio synergizes really well with Reaper, so that Reaper can kind of chase people down, as well as kind of go in, go out with the Wraith, and then Reinhardt and Zarya, so you can kind of help with the aggression. So if you need to stabilize when you're on Reinhardt and Zarya, you need to kind of just put your shield back up and try and retreat. But if they've got things that can just hit you through your shield, like another Reinhardt, Winston, stuff like that, you need to be able to control the engagement
Where's
a
Runaway?
lot more
Crying
discreet.
face.
Where's Runaway? In Vancouver. Forehead. I like it how pretty much every roster move is like a public secret. But, leaks. Please, if it's on Reddit, it's not really a leak. The Pharah is fine. You know, even in the World Cup, you saw some things. Like if you had Satan here playing Lucio, even in the World Cup, you saw things like Ana and Lucio being played together, even when you had a DPS like Pharah or Widowmaker, who is traditionally run with Mercy. So Ana especially is so strong, and Mercy's on the weaker side right now, that it's okay to run these heroes without a Mercy. That will require the Widow or the Pharah who's being played to be more of like a harasser style and not be really up close and aggressive, but let's see how you play.
Round one, capture the objective.
Dab Puckchin.
Go left, go left, go left, left. We have a fire. We should be going left.
If you are going to give callouts, do it earlier. If they have a Pharah, you're going to want to go right, not left.
Follow our fire. If I get booped up.
Oh, we have a Pharah. I see what you're saying. So you're going left so that your Pharah gets more value. Great call there, but make it earlier so you don't get split.
I'm blaming you.
Never
Never mind.
Yeah, that sucks.
Go left, he's
That's also really loud.
Alright. I'll accept that. We'll go. Let's go right.
So what do they have? What do they have here? Oh, no. Okay, so they've got McCree Hanzo. That's high damage, super high damage. They've got the Moira and the Lucio here. So this is going to be kind of annoying for you to actually kill. But anytime, like, the counter to Orisa, especially when you've got a Reinhardt, is just press W, lol. Now, one of the difficulties here is that you don't have a diva. So against things where you have 3 really high damage opponents, and then you have something like Moira, a diva is fantastic here. Even though you're like, Rein Zarya is good in like the Rein Zarya thing, but there are times in which Rein Diva might be a better pick. So if I saw this, I can be like, you know, Zarya is good when you're able to absorb kind of constant damage, but if the damage is so high that your bubbles are like bubble pop, like popping immediately, and then you've got that 8 or 10 seconds where you can't get another bubble, it can be harder because Zarya bubbles only only protect you from about 200 damage. But Diva's Defense Matrix protects an infinite amount of damage for the duration in which it is active. So it allows you to cross gaps, close gaps a lot quicker, especially if you had Lucio. But you don't have that. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult for you to do. You're going to have to play in areas where you can try and close the gap on the opponent without kind of traversing across long sight lines, or else they're going to just be pumping a shit ton of damage into you. But that's kind of how I would play that from a team perspective. In a solo queue perspective, one of the things that I'm going to be wanting to do is if we're in a position where our Reinhardt can't block the hooks, be really patient on these bubbles. In case somebody does get hooked, you can kind of projected bubble to save them, and then personal bubble to body block for the incoming damage after your bubble goes down to try and get them back to safety. After that, you can get you should be able to sit at like 100 energy in this composition pretty easily. And then when you see the opportunity, especially if you see Take a Breather go down or Arista's Fortify go down, you can just farm a Graviton off them pretty easily once you're at max energy.
We'll go. Let's go right.
So many high damage targets does it take you to switch to Diva? Usually 2 hit scans. If I see 2 hit scans or like a hit scan and a sniper, you could like Hanzo, even though he's projectile, is usually treated like he's a hit scan sniper. He's kind of played in that same role. He's much higher damage than Widowmaker. So one of the things that in Team Canada we did was if the opponent ever played Roadhog, like we're going Slambulance, so 4 tanks, we brought out the Hanzo because it's an amazing amount of damage. Any other questions in chat? Doesn't look like it so far. Okay. Pogu to the coach that helped me climb from less than 500 SR Bronze Zen 1 trick to a boosted 2050 on a Zeniboy 2 trick. Kappa. Well, congrats on the climb and welcome to gold. Would you recommend playing against higher rated teams if your team feels they stomp teams on their rank? Absolutely. You want scrims that you just barely lose. Those are ideal.
The objective is now.
Alright, well, wait. We're not with you. Let us respond.
Just slap someone. No, I slapped down.
Someone.
Yeah, you can't walk between that tree and the wall.
Alright, let's go for it. It's all good.
Are you
Let's
guys
get in
ready?
here, boys.
I slapped someone.
So this is going to make things difficult. Like the way that your Ryan is playing is going to make things difficult. Like you saw it how he was just kind of hard shielding. And especially if you're an off tank here and your main tank is not somebody who is making a lot of calls, which your main tank is not, it's okay to micro your main tank. It's okay to do that. Even at the highest level, like XQC himself at Team Canada requested on occasion the Zarya, the Diva player for Canada, to micro XQC. You know, he's in the front line. He doesn't always have the best picture of what's going on. So he gets kind of microed with bubble, cooldowns, or defense matrix, things of that variety. So in this case, you can see that your Reinhardt's playing in a way that isn't going to be, a way or the optimal way to take down this composition. It is going to allow you to get energy. So you could do things like, hey, Ryan, just like play slow here. You know, peek, I've got bubble, just give me some energy. Okay, bubbles are up in like 3, 2. Okay, let's go. Sort of thing. So you can do like 1 cycle of bubbles where your Ryan is in no danger and then get your full energy. And then after that, be like, okay, let's go. And then just go right through their shield here. So you've got projected, you already used it 7 seconds. And because you're not communicating with your Reinhardt, I assume he's just going to like keep standing in this area, taking a ton of spam until he's out of resources. You've used both your bubbles and you're going to slowly die. You move forward to body block a lot of the damage. You're going to go back out. That's good. But now look at your Reinhardt, right? His shield's already getting low, and then just as you're about to get high energy and want to go in, your Reinhardt's going to want to stabilize. So you're kind of like desynced from your main tank here.
I need assistance, I need healing, I need shield, I need everything.
Thank you.
I got popped.
Oh boy. Quickly go in with our Ryan. Support our Reinhardt. I'm on the wrist.
I'm going to just talk about, it's also really, I'm not used to looking at
Assistance,
the colors
I
here.
need healing, I need shield, I need everything.
He needs everything.
Oh boy. Quickly go in with our Ryan. Support our Reinhardt.
I was wondering
we
if
have
you
all
have
good
any
sites.
suggestions for those of you who might have
That's an easy
what I
team
call
wipe.
calm anxiety. I rarely play competitive, but when I do I have a hard time talking because I tend to shut down when people start tilting.
Yeah, it
I
happens.
usually only get through the 10 placement matches and end up going.
Back to quick play or mystery heroes because it's way less stress. By the way, I'm high gold, low plat on PS4. Thanks for being such a positive presence in the Overwatch community. For those who might have what I call calm anxiety. So one of the things is to realize that not every single game is winnable. And if a game is lost for whatever reason, maybe you're just, the matchmaker was not kind to you that day, or everyone's tilted and you're playing with assholes, it's fine to just kind of play to improve, try and stay calm, and wait for the next game. So if the game is lost, accept it. Some people will advocate to like go full try hard every single game is winnable. That takes a lot of effort, and if you've got that much energy, power to you. But I'm sure of it. You can think of a recent game, if you've played recently, where you're like, yep, this is a loss, like 15, 20 seconds outside the gates, right? You've probably played a game like that. So just kind of on those games, your main goal is personal improvement, and remaining calm. So the reason that you won this fight is because your Roadhog flank killed 3. So we got McCree, finished off the Orisa, and got the Lucio. But the one main thing I see here is that when you went for this Orisa,
I got the top.
you're beaming the shield itself. So what is the actual purpose of beaming this shield? Your Reinhardt got a pick by suicidally charging in. So your Reinhardt is like the classic Platinum Reinhardt. He's kind of like, I'm going to stand here and eat just a fuck ton of damage, and then when I run out of the things that allow me to stay alive, I'm going to charge at them and hope something happens and then flame my teammate. So your Reinhardt, this is like one of the 10% times where this actually worked out. But the thing that you're doing wrong in this case is shooting the shield. But your plan is very obviously to walk through this shield. And this causes you to walk through the shield at 20 ammo, which is enough to actually kill, but it's an inefficiency. If your job isn't to shoot the shield, don't shoot the shield with half your ammo and then shoot the person behind it with half your ammo. Just resist the urge, reload, walk through that shield, and just pound that fucker into the dirt. So chill and be patient with that. It's kind of like a diva, right? If a diva was shooting the shield as she was going towards it, they would just be slowing down the speed that it would take for them to actually get through the shield. So if your goal is to go through the shield and shoot the thing behind it, don't waste ammo on the shield itself. Carq, how you doing, bud?
Oh, and we have 3 picks.
I slept someone. I don't know who they are.
That's an easy team wipe.
Easy team wipe.
Watch, any second now it's going to say team kill.
I really like this moving immediately to try and right click and get more grab charge. I do like this.
Hey,
Any second now.
Right, Carq? That happens all the time.
Any second. Any second. Any second now. Any second.
Ooh, headshot.
Woo, that's a lot of damage.
Patience, right? So they hit a headshot. That's why you went down to 150 HP. Them hitting lightning doesn't strike twice. So if they hit a headshot, ooh, scary. If you're immediately in the line of fire, then you can bubble to tank whatever potential follow-up. But you weren't in any risk past that initial headshot. So wasting a personal bubble here is just kind of like a panic response. But it's kind of like, oh, I had that. Good thing I didn't need it, sort of thing. But not actually that useful.
Damage, please heal me.
I like that. You kind of lost scout eyes here. So look at the position of all your teams. Your Roadhog is the only one who actually knows what's going on here, and he's not talking. So you've lost scouting, and it's a good you're just. This wall is not it. This wall does not have a mini map. It's not going to tell you where the enemies are. Nope. It's a billboard, but still doesn't have information on the enemy team.
And I work.
That's the point. Yep, no enemies there either.
Where are you at? Oh, there you are. I couldn't find you. Be careful poking out the Lucius might try to move you.
So you could have gotten more energy if you just said peak for energy, Ryan, or something like that. Just little things like that. Let your main tank know what your intentions are on Zarya. I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast, Terry.
Oh, watch out! Watch the dragon. That's not good. Lucio on point. Reaper behind.
I do like your these sorts of callouts with Reaper behind. I really like those callouts.
Reaper almost dead.
Good attempted combo with the right click melee. He wraithed. You need to back off really far. You used your personal. They dropped a brand new shield. There's too much risk to go through the shield. And this is one of the things here where, as just a player of, messages are only for resubs. As a player, okay, chat, how fast in meters per second do you move forward when you're playing any hero except for Genji or Tracer? How fast do you move forward in meters per second? 5.5. 5.5 meters per second. Does anybody know how fast you move going backwards? 5. 5.0 if you're moving backwards. So it's 10% slower, and you're like, it's only 0.5 meters per second. But the key is here, you have to know when you need to do a fighting retreat and a run the fuck away retreat. Tracer and Genji move at 6. You're correct. So this is a run the fuck away retreat, right? There is no point to do a fighting retreat because they've got a brand new shield. So you need to turn, you need to look at the ground, you can try and do evasive movement patterns, and in Zarya, if you have the extra health, I wouldn't really recommend it, but you can kind of right-click the floor to get away. So this is a run the fuck away retreat, which means turn around, head down, reduce that head box, evade, get to cover as soon as possible. What do you do? Ooh, go right to cover right away. Don't try and fight it.
Just hold it.
Trying to stall as long as I can, but I'm probably dead.
So you took the line to direct cover. You went right to this cover here. So this is fine because you had a Reaper here. I personally would have retreated like right off the point, because if you're here, this is like temporarily better cover, but it doesn't have a route of retreat. So if we're looking at Stat Banana, if we're looking at Lijiang Tower, right, so we're here, and you started in this position right here, and they put a shield, and you retreated from here to here. Now, this is okay because it's a shorter distance, but it gives you temporary cover. Now, if you're trying to like flank around and pressure here, that's a good option. But if you're trying to stay alive, they can kind of push forward here while being safe, and it opens up the angle on you. And it doesn't give you as nice of a retreat, because now you have to retreat even farther to areas like this. Whereas if you had retreated from here back out to this area of cover here, probably not here, you'd probably want to use this one, and then from here you can retreat to the bridge. But you got to cover right away, but you cut off your route of retreat, and you would have allowed the opponent to open up the angle on you. So kind of have retreats set as kind of like steps, and that if you go back here and you can continue using this cover to pressure. But if they open the angle on you here, your cover is gone entirely. Whereas at this cover, they can't open up the angle on you. He knew he would die, so he wanted to die on point, maybe for more capture charge. It would have been way better to stay at full energy. It would have been way better to stay at full energy. And if they did try and push forward past the Orisa shield, an Orisa composition is something that has to move forward and backwards in stages. And they can't really chase you down as easily. So I would have stayed at high energy, stayed as a massive threat, and just tried to back out and stay alive. Is strafe speed also 5.5? I actually don't know. So yeah, you're not at grav yet. It would have been way more important to stay alive, stay at high energy, stay as a threat. Like if this Hanzo did there, boom, right click, zzz, he's dead.
Just hold it.
Yeah, he opened the angle up, right? Reaper came around. Like they're probably doing it well unintentionally, but left Reaper, right Hanzo. It's and they're
I can, but I'm probably dead.
yeah, you're dead. You're dead.
Nice kill. I've almost got
You've
grab.
almost got grabbed,
That
though. Not
wasn't
bad,
for
not
this
bad.
fight.
We can like.
Oh,
Oh wow,
And they
that's
also
actually
lost
big.
the
That's big.
Lucio.
That's big. Let's go.
Now.
Quick. Right side. Well, left. All right, fuck it. We're going left, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna grab this fight. Big slam. Big slam.
Just Reaper.
Got 3.
So let's look at that again. Chat, what do you think were the main problems in this fight? What do you think were the main problems in this fight? Ignored Reaper, bad bubble on Rhine, no focus, didn't call it the grav. The grav was actually pretty decent. I'm not going to bitch too much about it. Q to win, lost focus, speed boost too fast, no focus on enemies. All good points. So when you have situations... Now, if you guys didn't see it, Hero on the opposing Lucio killed himself. Somehow he fell off the map.
Oh wow,
And
that's
they also
actually
lost
that's big.
That's huge. That's huge. You see Ampio. Lucio immediately amp speed because you want to play
let's go.
fast. It's great. Huge advantage. You're automatically a 6v5. A 6v5 is an immediate 70% chance of winning.
Right side.
Right side. Everyone goes left.
Well, left. All right, fuck it. We're going left, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna grab this fight.
Okay, so as soon as there's a hammer goes down, this is a pretty common error in like Diamond and Platinum, in that when an EMP happens, when a grav happens, when a hammer happens, something like this happens, everybody's down, and there's just like so many targets. Everybody's like, I'm gonna shoot all the things. And one of the things we have to work on, even Grandmaster Tier 3 teams struggle with this, is that when a Sombra EMPs, for example, they're like, EMP, go, 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 and everybody like dives in, and they're just like, everybody's just shooting random shit. So even when the hammer knocks everybody down, in this case it's only 2, you still have to target focus. And
Big
Hanzo,
slam.
I assume, is going to die because the Reaper's on him.
Big slam.
So he dies, but there's no target focus. Big slam. Like, they have their monitors on too. I'm sure they noticed. Now, your Reaper dies, but you're still at 0 energy, and the Orisa... I actually can't tell with the color scheme whether or not they've used Fortify or... Fortify just ended here. Okay, but you're at 0 energy. You used your personal to get 40 energy, but there's a Reaper and an Orisa. So when you are up like this, you're now up 3. So the fight is a 5v3. You're still up 2. So you can afford to play super safe. There's times when you need to play kind of safe and just out-resource the opponent. And there's times where you need to be aggressive to try and clutch. So think of it like being a McCree, for example. If you're up 2, you know, or let's say let's make this math simple, right? There's 3 McCrees versus 5 McCrees. The team with 5 McCrees has 66% more damage. They just have way more damage. So, over time, if the fight goes on longer, they're going to have an advantage. But if you are on the team with 3 McCrees, then you need to actually get kills and get things in a very short amount of time in order to turn the tides and clutch things out. So whenever you are trying, whenever you have a numbers advantage, playing slow is the safest option because over time, you will gain more value. Your more cooldowns across your entire team will come up. You don't have to try and rush things. If you had just gone down 2 or something and you were in the middle of the team fight or something like that, you need to prioritize kind of trading as quickly as possible so that that advantage doesn't move too far against you. So you could play slow here, and you, especially with your bubbles, would want to prioritize preventing a clutch from the opponent, especially when they have a hero who can clutch, like Reaper. So you were up 3, your Reaper was a dum-dum, now you're up 2. Priority, win safely without letting the opponent clutch. You're out, both bubbles, you're staring down a hostile Orisa and a Reaper, might be dangerous.
Just Reaper.
Honestly, that's a fine graph. Most of their cooldowns are probably out. I assume Amp has already been used. I assume Orb has already been used. Fortify has already been used so that she can't escape it. This is pretty good.
Got 3.
Unfortunately, the Reaper ult comes out, gets you, gets your Lucio, and then they bury her. I know, I see her.
We got
off.
her back.
So, unfortunate, you trying to play riskier in order to end the fight earlier allowed the Reaper to clutch. I don't think that's actually RCK, is it? Is that the real RCK? I thought his Twitch was different.
We gotta make it quick. We're going right side. Let's keep it going, boys. Watch the hog ult.
It is! Hello, friend!
Oh, Jip.
How are you doing?
Get on it. Have ulti, watch this.
I'm excited
NA
to work with you. Very, very excited to work with
I
you.
killed everyone, don't worry.
And when are you actually streaming it? RCK, you should jump on. Do you want to? There's an off-tank fog. Jump on Discord with me. Would you like to help teach people off-tank? Ah, waiting for your flight. Okay, another time. Oh yeah, right. Forgot that was happening. Soon. So, once you've got your stream set up, it'll be fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome working with you, dude. You're on a phone? Oh, okay. Another time. RCK. Have a safe flight.
Unlucky. Not our map.
I was through the goddamn shield. This game is
I
broken.
need those Dallas Fuel emotes. Apparently the Dallas Fuel Twitch account has
I've had this happen
like
to me.
my actual
Those
PogChamp
first
face.
take the other 2.
God, I've told this story before, but we did a photo shoot with Dallas where we all had to like imitate Twitch emotes
I'm best brig NA,
Oh my
so
God.
don't worry, I'll carry you guys.
Yeah, there's a folder sitting on some Dallas Fuel computer with me kind of acting out a bunch of Twitch emotes. I regret this every single day.
He's a big fat ass.
Okay, now you're on Diva.
Yeah, but like I'm just randomly throwing it in.
Now you're playing Brigitte and Ana, my least favorite comp, kind of support duo. Yeah. Facepalm. Ooh, making me dizzy right off the bat. So Diva is a hero with a lot of versatility. Now, well, that's unfortunate. You're already down one. But when you know you have, at least me personally, this can change depending on... Diva is a character with so much versatility. You can be a very aggressive Diva who plays kind of like a big tracer. You can play as a frontline supporter where you're kind of allowing your Reinhardt or your Winston to be more aggressive, or you can be kind of like a peeling Diva who goes and protects supports and makes sure that the backline of the team is always a strong and sturdy pillar of the team. Or you can be a Diva kind of like Late Young from China, who takes a very, very neutral stance. I kind of equated Late Young from Team China as like the tofu of Diva players. They have no taste, no distinguishable play style. They're kind of in the middle of their team. If the supports needs help, they help the supports. If the tanks need supports, they help the tanks need help, they help the tanks. If there's an opportunity to kill somebody, Late Young will kill them. Bombs, no discernible pattern with bomb usage. Just Late Young is the tofu of Diva players. Just kind of is always in a neutral stance, holding like a corner or some sort of cover until they take a different cover. It's strange, but there's so many different play styles on Diva. I would definitely, if you are a Diva player, since Diva is in so many different compositions, she's in Goats, she's in Dive. Diva is like a 95% pick rate right now in pro play for good reason, but because she's in so many different compositions, she's also played in a ton of different ways.
How did you die so fast?
Great question.
Interesting.
Does anybody just offhand know the fall-off range of Diva? Anybody know the fall-off range of Diva? I love chat. You're so smart. It's 10. It's 10 meters. It's actually the same as Tracer. So, Diva doesn't do a lot of damage to squishies at 10 meters because the spread is fucking massive. But Diva, especially with micro missiles, is actually a really, really good shield breaker. Because at 10 meters, Diva will be doing full damage to a shield. So if you know what 10 meters is, especially against Orisa, you can kind of be like, especially if you're playing with a high damage hero like a Hanzo or something like that. Right now, you are not. But micro missiles plus Diva just at 10 meters, you're actually a really, really good shield breaker. So just recognize as Diva that your damage against shields at range is way higher because your spread has no influence compared to trying to shoot like a Hanzo from range. How are you going to use your micro missiles?
So where we are, Reinhardt keeps his shield longer.
You could chase that.
Go for this Hanzo.
Beautiful.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
What?
What
Oh, I
the fuck?
didn't even see him lunge either, dude. That's awesome.
Hanzo's dead.
Nice.
Well, we lost this fight.
Lucio low.
There's that.
So yeah, if you have shield break, one of the best things for you on Diva, it's micro missiles. Did I say macro missiles? I said micro missiles. Stop baiting me, chat. But just so BS. You said macro. You know what I meant. But especially if you have like a shield break composition, as soon as an Orisa shield goes down, you can just be like call to shoot it and then activate your micros immediately. But yeah, this fight sucked for you because you lost your tracer like right away. And I don't even remember what your second DPS is. Yeah, self-destruct is the macro missile, right? So you do have a Hanzo. You do have a Hanzo. So you are capable of breaking the shield right now. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world because you have a Brigitte. Like if you had like Ana Zen Hanzo, you could break Orisa's shield pretty easily, especially if they don't have a Diva. And they're running a Zarya, so they can't help their Orisa shield, and then they have no frontline. It'll fall apart super easy. At high ranks, if an Orisa shield can't last until the cooldown comes up again, the Orisa is basically useless. So you either smash the shield or walk through it or dive past it You don't really want to get into a situation where there's any serious quantities of your resources going into an Orisa shield if it's not decisively breaking it. So against an Orisa, always pick whether you're breaking the shield or going through it. If you can't decide against an Orisa, if you can't get your team on the same page, you're probably going to lose.
Can we get someone to break that Orisa Berry? Like, if we break the Orisa Berry, we win. I'm not like our Reinhardt
This is
Berry
sub-only,
is
yes. This is
2000
sub-only
HP,
mode.
600 in our-
Slightly nervous about the long fight, but your VOD reviews calm me. Enjoy it. RCK is funny. I actually had a friend who, like, I'm a pilot, so heights and flying doesn't bother me. But I actually had this friend who was terrified of flying unless there was turbulence. And I was like, what? Explain this to me. Explain this to me. How does turbulence make you feel better about flying? And they were like, well, it just kind of, it feels like there's actually something holding the plane up. I was like, you know what? In some weird fucking way, that actually makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I had a friend who was just liked turbulence because they felt like there was something actually holding the plane up, and it wasn't so kind of like surreal and magical to them. I thought that was a kind of funny perspective. At that range, you're not going to do anything to a Moira. One of the things you can do, so you're, what's a good way to explain this? You can trade your cooldowns for opponents' cooldowns. So a tracer, for example, one of the things that you can do is you can like boost at a tracer, you can micro them really early, and you can trade that for their recall, for example, and then they'll normally have to back off. So if you kind of go aggressive at a tracer, they'll have to recall, and then without a recall, the tracer is normally going to play very passive. If a Moira is aggressive, you can kind of boost at them to force them to fade away and get them to play a lot more passive as well. Ideally, however, like that's suboptimal, especially in a ranked environment. If you can kind of bully somebody and then get those cooldowns out, like if you're just like really patient with your boosters and your micro missiles against an overly aggressive tracer, as soon as that tracer recalls, you can boost at them because they'll have to use their blinks to get away. But your boosters for D.Va take you way farther than a tracer blinking away from a fight does. And if you get a Moira to fade, your boosters will allow you to catch up to that Moira, and if they try and use an orb to save themselves, you can eat that orb and keep the fight going. But just kind of like trying to threaten a Moira from that range when they're using a right click that gives them self-heal is going to do literally nothing. So as D.Va, if you are in this neutral stance, constantly be looking for opportunities to either pressure the opponent or to assist your own teammates. Whether if the backline's being attacked by flanker, you're there. If the front line needs your defense matrix in order to close the gap on Orisa, you're there. If somebody's out of position from the opponent team, you need to get in their face and kill them with micros and your boosters, you're there. D.Vas especially need to have really high awareness because there's so many different things you can do. You need to be able to identify the proper opportunity and act on it, like right away. So this is low value. It's insanely low value. You're doing nothing. And now your Reinhardt's been stuck the entire time. While you were trying to force that off, your Reinhardt was getting spammed out. Now you're going to use Defense Matrix to... Oh, you're not going to use Defense Matrix to retreat. You didn't even need the halt. Dangerous, but used almost all of your Defense Matrix. Now both your tanks are low on cooldowns. You're trying to rotate around. Orisa's placed a new shield up.
Orisa doesn't have a shield. Let's do it.
I hate that when you get caught on ledges. Now, this is fine. This is one of the things where you have to recognize when it's okay for you to chase. Now, this Hanzo, what is this Hanzo doing right now? He's fighting you, right? What would this Hanzo be doing if you just fucked off? Nothing. So, you have... in air quotes, zoned this Hanzo, right? So he's activated his Stormbow, and you're like, okay, I'm gone. And then you can have just like a temporary kind of 5v6 or something. And if he tries to go back there, then you can go at him again. And you're like, get out of here. So you've made him back off. You've made him stop being a threat, and you can go back to your team and get more resources. It's actually quite difficult for a D.Va to engage somebody like a Hanzo, a McCree, or something in a 1v1 situation. if you're kind of low on cooldowns here. So you've forced the Hanzo to fuck off. They fucked off. Leave. Go back to your team. If he's going to keep him where there, or if you have, you'll like let the tracer know. But yeah,
Healing over here.
good. That's just dumb from the Orisa. If you were playing in a little bit of higher rank, that's probably something to mention. Be like, oh, I just fed the Zarya a lot of grav there. They're nerfing Brig and ruining her. She's now going to be useless protect bot. I don't think you're going to find many people upset about that one. Nice eat on the orb.
Arista point, Arista point.
Oh, huge. So there's a lot of things that you could have done there. A lot of things that you could have done. You could have called for the Rhine to be more aggressive now that the Orisa put her shield down. You could have boosted through the shield and done like a U-turn where you kind of go forward and force the Orisa off the point. There's a lot of things you could have done. You took that neutral stance, just kind of arbitrarily pressured that shield. The shield did go down, and then your Reinhardt got the slam. So you being in the neutral position there worked out. You know, it was the focus on the shield, it going down, and the Reinhardt landing the hammer that actually won the game. But you know, especially for divas, not feeding is sometimes half the battle.
Do they dream of electric sheep?
And especially on Diva against Orisa, you have to you've got this bomb here, and you know that as soon as they place that, you're dead.
It's fun knowing you all.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate bomb.
Now
I was gonna play the game.
They got a 6K.
That was a
Okay,
big
nice
dragon.
Hanzo. But especially when they place an Orisa barrier down, if you drop your bomb right away, they can't hide from it. Like, yes, they have a Zarya right now, but at the higher ranks, on like things like goats, you can throw a bomb and chase after the bomb because they have to run, they have to get to corners. But then if you're speeding through, again, Lucio, you don't have it. But if you're chasing people down afterwards with like a Reinhardt, with the Brigitte, with the Tracer, for example, the opponent is going to only be able to hide in very specific areas. And you can just beat the shit out of them like if they try and hide, or they're going to die to the bomb. So you can just cause a crazy amount of chaos if the Orisa puts too aggressive of a barrier down, or you track kind of the Zarya bubble. So especially against this sort of composition, each kind of team fight where you have a bomb, if the Orisa places a new shield, you should be able to find an opportunity to drop a bomb because it's not like it's not like they can move their shield around like having a Reinhardt, for example.
My healing's not even not that.
Don't worry, they didn't get a team kill, so it's all good. In the end, we still won.
They did get a team kill.
Alright, let's win this bread.
Let's win this bread. He doesn't just want to get it; he wants to deserve it. So yeah, I've said I don't need to say it more, but especially decide whether you're decisively going to go through shields or break the shield.
D-Max. Using a lot of ults. Arista down.
Get him!
Junk
Oh,
one,
you could have
junk one,
meleeed that.
junk one,
You
junk
could
one,
have
junk
meleeed that. This guy is also like Tofu. Is that what you're
still
saying, main
alive.
event?
There we go.
Wood Tier says, is it advised to, when trapped, just look
Nice
away from the
job,
enemies to have their damage output when playing tanks with forward-facing hitboxes? Unless you can kind of shoot back. But,
It's cum dumps.
it's...
Bird shit.
There's no kind of one catch-all sentence. Realize that you can retreat faster and while taking less damage because you've hidden your crit box by looking away from people, but you can't do a fighting retreat. So if they are chasing you, they will be able to chase you basically indefinitely because they're not being damaged, they're not being threatened in any way. So if you are retreating through an area in which the opponent is threatened but in some other manner, if they try and cross, then kind of a cowardly retreat is advisable. But if you are trying to get away and the opponent has no other disincentive from chasing you to finish the kill, then you may as well fight while retreating. Hey, Jayne. Glad you're doing full VOD reviews now. Always liked them over the Blitz VOD reviews. Will you
Tracer?
do any DPS VOD soon? I actually don't know what else is on the list.
But she's a lesbian.
If the enemy has sniper, it's possible to
Still
dodge
got
with
those
180 movement. On Winston, yeah, and then there was the clip of Fury, who flew at a Widowmaker, and then twice, with like perfect timing, knowing the rate of fire of Widow Shot, kind of did like 90-degree flicks to move the crit box on Diva, so that they could approach the Diva without having, so that they could approach the Widowmaker without having to use a defense matrix.
It's not the same.
So you
thing
can
as
do
the
that sort of
Duke
thing.
thumbs, but,
And
like,
even kind of, there's Rascal does this when he's blading against snipers, for example, is that during the blade animation, he'll turn either 90 degrees or 180 degrees to move his head hitbox so that he doesn't get sniped. And then there's other things, kind of like the lingering hitbox from Swift Strike, where you don't want to dash directly at snipers, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. But understanding how your movement affects your hitboxes and how you can exploit that to make yourself harder to hit, it goes back to the earlier conversation with accuracy and how 57% accuracy is meaningless without knowing the level of opponent you're going against, because higher level opponents have better positioning and better movement.
it still comes.
Still the same, nonetheless.
Real.
It's not semen, but it's coming.
But when a dude comes, it's real.
Capture the objective.
Oh shit, that's philosophical as fuck.
How would you properly fighting retreat with Rhine? You can just like, so if you're with Rhine, usually if you've got supports, you're going to be kind of like shield hopping backwards, just because it's going to be able to keep you alive longer. Fighting retreat with a Reinhardt, because like, on Brigitte, anybody who has like a shield of that variety isn't usually going to do a fighting retreat. It's people who don't otherwise have defensive options, so they just remain on the offensive instead of doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get out of this voice chat.
How do you stay alive against Doomfist ult when you're playing Ana? You find a corner or like a thin wall. So what you do is you, if you find a thin wall or feature like this, if you stand here on Ana, or something like that, then if the Doomfist tries to ult you, you can walk around the corner. If he tries to big brain you by ulting here, you just stay there. And if he tries to trick you by going here, you can just back out. So in order to survive Doomfist ults, look for thin features like walls.
We need to.
Hey, look, thin features like walls. They're right here. Perfect
Take this
example.
lane.
Ryan is hacked.
Oh
Ryan is
my god!
Ryan, the best.
So, like, and this is one of the reasons why duoing as like a tank pair can be so strong, because your synergy with your Reinhardt here is non-existent. You only have 2 seconds of your defense matrix, so you can't sit here and just eat spam forever, which is what your Reinhardt apparently wants to do. He just wants to hold there, he wants to shield until he can't shield anymore, and then he's going to be sad, so he's going to charge in so that he dies and gets his 2,000 shield back faster. But with this kind of, communicate, whether you're on Diva or Zarya, communicate and micro, or at least let your main tank know what you're wanting to do and the status of your cooldowns. So kind of like, Respite Shield, let's like go, defense matrix you Rhines, stuff like this. But just like allowing your Reinhardt to be a bot is not going to help you. So, there's the kind of, the descriptor,
I'm in a
Jaco.
strange situation where I love playing Ana, but I can't rely on my team to hit the broadside of a barn. So it feels bad for me. My SR is jumping off a cliff.
In terms of like, if you play a large enough games, certainly there are games where the DPS, your DPS, are just completely are no match for the opponent's DPS. But over the large enough period of games, if you assume that there's an Ana on both teams in every game, in order to climb consistently, all you need to do is outperform the enemy Ana. You're going to get games where your DPS are better than the opponent's DPS exactly the same amount of times, where it's the other way around. So don't get pissed at your DPS not outplaying their opponent. Outplay the opponent's supports as a support yourself. Even though you don't directly interact with one another, you're still in a competition with the opponent's supports to see who is the better support. It's kind of like force and force multiplier. But, being pissed at your teammates for the reason you're not climbing is not conducive to climbing. But yeah, there's the idea that like off tank and main tank. You know, how do you actually define chat? Like, how do you actually define the difference between a main tank and an off tank? How do you actually define that? Shield? Nope. Hammond is considered a main tank. He doesn't have a shield. Ah, somebody's got it. So creating or taking space versus enforcing or threatening. So like a Reinhardt can walk forward with his shield, but then a Zarya is going to be the one who threatens and prevents kind of opponents from just arbitrarily walking through that shield. So it's not, what's the way to put this? It's not a perfect analogy because you can play in different ways, but in general, the main tank is going to be the person who takes that space initially, but then the off-tank player is the one who's going to allow that main tank to take, hold, and then threaten or pressure anybody who tries to take that space back. So a diva, it's so very difficult for a diva to take the space themselves, right? And it's so very difficult for a Zarya to take the space themselves because they've got that projected bubble. And if there's nobody in front of them, it's really quite a challenge. But both Diva and Zarya assist with main tanks taking space and then holding it because they threaten anyone else.
I am a YouTuber with 4 million subs. I am planning to start streaming Overwatch. Could you help me by reviewing my gameplay, please? Smile.
Excuse me? $300. Holy shit. You weren't kidding. You really do have 4 million subs. Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, we'll take a look at this next. No problem, dude. Yeah, we've only got a couple minutes left in this VOD, but yeah, we'll take a look at yours.
By a rain. A pinata.
What's it called when a Zenyatta gets pinned by rain? A pinata. Oh my god. Forgetful said, drink that $300 water, right? Okay. Wow, I really appreciate that, dude. I have never heard of your channel before. D7 Umi 999. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it in a second. Okay. Paid VOD reviews, excuse me. I'm sorry, subs. That's yeah. Watch your State of the Overwatch video. It's 47 minutes in. I just realized I signed up for a movie, right? And then Jaco. I already answered that one. OW Backline. Watching your State, yeah. TTS lady, are you not going to read his message? Oh, there it goes.
State of Overwatch. I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about how a solution for rank being a mass dump of new heroes over the next year. More options to deal with situations and new win conditions.
Yeah,
the real fault in Overwatch is lack of heroes and options.
And they're getting there, right? They're adding new heroes constantly. And it will get better, but I think at some point, you know, if we have more heroes, the more heroes we get in Overwatch, the more arguments you can make for something like a ban system.
Shit, daddy.
Hold on, point. There, Mercy is half HP. I'm going for her.
That's
I
unfortunate.
got trapped.
Good DM on the Junkrat, though.
Hey, whenever we get a second, I'm not going to do it.
Their Junkrat is actually 1 HP. I have no idea where he is. Junkrat.
So this is something that you have to burn out of your system.
I have no
Is
idea
right.
where he is.
Right after this Lucio, you pop defense matrix. So this is kind of like a panic, or it's usually a reflex. And this was way, way, way worse when D.Va had supposedly kind of like an infinite defense matrix. But in this specific situation, right after the Lucio goes out of your LOS, you defense matrix for no reason. So defense matrix is an insanely precious resource, and you cannot be wasting it on reflex like this. This is also very, very common in lower ranked divas who, while they boost, they just activate defense matrix for no reason. So kind of an unfortunate use of defense matrix there. You use all of it when you could have used it to block both of the projectiles coming in from Farah and Junkrat.
Junkrat is still alive.
How do
Oh
you
my
feel
God, he's
about Brig
invincible.
not being able to bash through shields in the future?
I don't
Do you
really like
think
that
it will
change.
make Brig a lot less useful?
Didn't kill the Junkrat.
Yeah, I don't know. So I haven't like theory crafted it yet, but at the same point, shield bashing is kind of like how you beat goats. So give me a second here. Was it Elk who tweeted it out? Twitter Elk. So I generally like to theory craft things before I take a statement on goats, but then Elk, who plays for the Fusion University, says, sees Brig nerf on PTR. Pog, less goats. This is where everyone is at. And then Elk is like, scrims and realizes it's a buff. Fuck. So, yeah. Like, right now, Brig's really powerful, but shield bashing Reinhardt is one of the ways that you kill goats. So we'll have to see how it's actually going to work out. Anyway.
One by one.
Yeah, Elk is a two-way contract. You got caught boosting? Tisk tisk senpai. I missed your sub message. You genuinely got happy when you read about the shield bash nerf? Okay.
Are you guys ready? We're about to go in.
Big EMP. Really preemptive on the really preemptive on the micro missiles. So let's look at your micro usage again here. Just chillin'. You're all kind of walking around. Right.
Are you guys ready?
You activated it kind of here. So here you're activating them more or less for like spam damage. Now, if you're in between
Now
fights...
everyone will play Doomfist to bash shields.
Yep.
Unless I'm mistaken, and they are also removing his ability to do it.
That was my first assumption, and what I wanted to test is that even previously Canada played Doomfist Goats to good success. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wouldn't you just kind of replace that ability with Doomfist? Because then Doomfist can still kind of either uppercut or punch to get shield, like to make Ryan drop his shield. But anyway, so it's fine like between fights to use micros down sightlines to get some extra ult charge. But here, you're going to have to use it to burst targets down and finish them on like squishies, especially if you got right up in their face, or again to assist with that shield break. But you're kind of like, you've encountered red people and you're pressing buttons, and that's a bad habit that you need to get into. Like the poor control of cooldowns is usually like a platinum problem. Now you're around 3100, so you're seeing a little bit of it still.
All right.
But you're boosting in, you got hit pretty low, you're already 2 down. It probably would have been better to just like retreat, give this ultimate charge. Like missing health, if you do a quick reset here, you give your healers that, you know, if somebody does like 599 damage to you with an ultimate, they don't get any ult charge for that. But then if you take that, you stay alive and you deliver it to your healers at the spawn door, then you're going to get more support ultimates. It could be more impactful. But kind of just throwing yourself in here, making this reset even longer, ensuring that your supports don't get the ult charge, already have used both your cooldowns. You can't, because you can use micros at the same time you defense matrix, but you can't fusion at the same time that you use defense matrix. So you're just in a real shit situation. Yeah, that's oof.
Okay, I thought we were gotcha gamers, guys. What the fuck happened?
I have a request for
They
the
have
PS.
way more spam damage than us. We gotta go a different direction. We can't go that way.
I hate spam comps so much. They're very common in Diamond and Plat.
Oh my god, the sushi's actually. Oh my god, we actually killed him.
Beautiful response. That was really good.
Alright, they have 2 down.
You could have been defense matrix near McCree there for good effort. Or unlucky. That actually managed to hit you too.
Nice. Big stun.
Good thing you
big
have
stun.
McCree with flash.
Huge. Get in there. Get in there. Junkrat's dead.
Nice boosted. Nice melee finisher. Full defense matrix.
He's one. He's actually.
A little bit better aim there would have gone a long way, but I think he'll still get the kill because he's running into a sign. That's fantastic.
Nice. We got this. They switch off the Junkrat to a soldier.
He flew into a sign.
Probably because you have a flying Egyptian. Maybe
One of the things you can do here is one of the things that I like to do to Faras is High Noon and Bomb will usually explode before a Pharah can high if they use jump jets. So you can like look at a Pharah and then they'll like slowly lose altitude, and then as soon as they use jump jet, just fire your bomb directly beneath them, and they usually can't escape from it. It's a free kill, and killing a Pharah usually a free team fight because then you can focus on other things and not just slowly be spammed out by rockets.
That's why.
So look for the
Like
Pharah,
Egypt.
especially on Diva. One of the things you can do is control Pharahs very, very easily. And just a mistake that the opponent is doing, right? So they're attacking both their DPS from one angle. Their Soldier and their Pharah, I think, is their 2 DPS. But since they're attacking from both angles, your defense matrix has become twice as effective because you can block both sources of damage with the same cooldown you would have used anyway.
Everyone's gonna have Jetter soon.
Chat, what is he missing? Chat, what is he missing? What is he missing? What is he missing? You can hear it. There's a Pharah in the top right window right now, spamming right past Reinhardt's shield. So Reinhardt's shield is something that's really, really good at blocking from a single angle, a single sight line, one vector of attack. But right now their Pharah has been like, shit, we can't do anything because they got a Rein and a Diva investing their resources into this one doorway. So their Pharah, you can hear the Pharah. And even if you didn't have sound on, you should be like, where's the Pharah? Where's the... It's kind of like the SpongeBob music. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Where's the Pharah? But you
Is
just
it
like,
possible to cook eggs on your head when it's hot outside?
I'm in Canada. No, it's never hot outside. So, yeah, just get in their face, right? With the Huns, like get in their face, micro them, use their cooldowns, make them fuck off. The Reinhardt's doing their job. They're holding the front door. You need to make sure that they don't take the back door, right?
You lost one. They're gonna start pushing. Rhine barrier destroyed.
Barrier destroyed. You could throw a bomb in there. Easily, you could throw a bomb in there. You could throw a bomb in there so that they die. You could throw a bomb behind them so it forces them to run into your nanoed Reinhardt and get fucked up. Right? Like, barrier destroyed, bomb. Wins the fight. They can't do anything about it. So you can either bomb to kill them or bomb to make them push into you and then just fuck them up. There's so many options here.
Big slam.
Bomb is bomb should be used for a lot more than just remeching. You could have chased that. Your Reinhardt's out there anyway. You should have.
I'm gonna fuck you.
You're losing this fight somehow.
The Reinhardt is
So unfortunate.
Nice job. Run, McCree, run! I can matrix you. Just run.
Great call. Great call.
I'm gonna have. I'm at 41, but I should have it.
You know, this isn't a. This isn't in ranked. You need to be the emphasis on being a playmaker in order to win in ranked is much more prevalent than it is in team play. In team play, if you are the better team and you do your job and don't feed, you can have a lot of success. But in ranked, doing your job is often not enough if you want to win quite a few games. So be looking for those plays. Don't try and get like 6Ks. 1 or 2 if they are the first picks of the game. If you get them and then you don't feed your fucking brains out afterwards, is usually enough to win. 3,100. This guy's 3,100. You've got a lot of instinctual defense metrics you need to work out of your system here.
Focusing right shield. Far on point. She's probably got barrage. Nice shot. She's gonna try and res. Denied.
You can just
Not
boost
much to say. Just wanted the dono badge.
Cheers, dude. Enjoy the dono badge. You had boosters. You could have denied that res. So there's definitely times in which a Mercy will get the res off but then die. You could have gotten the kill and like confirmed get denied that res by just booping her away with your boosters. And also knocking a target away with your boosters makes them travel in a very predictable motion, which makes it even
What's your
easier for you to
opinion
track.
on the SR difference that players have when grouping?
It's fine.
I went against a 5-stack who had 2 players peak masters this season whilst I play at 2,736 and I was the highest
that's
SR
unlucky.
on my team.
That is
XD was a
unlucky.
fun match though.
Yeah, the thing is that in competitive, the stacking rules are primarily meant to allow casuals and friends to play together. The stacking rules are not competitive, so I would blame that on 5 stacks rather than kind of like the SR gap allowed in stacks. Yeah, you're all dead. You're super dead. Super dead.
Retake. Just come back. Just
Like,
come back.
there's dead, and
do not
they're
die, whatever you
super
do.
dead.
For the sake of God.
I like it how the yellow people are just walking through your Ryan's shield like your Ryan does not even exist.
And do not die, whatever
Your soldier's like, you guys have a Ryan? Where is he?
you do. For the sake of God.
He just doesn't fucking care. Oh my god.
Do it, everything
Your
you do,
Reinhardt
or not
never
die.
swings.
Go in. I'll put up your shield.
Unlucky.
Yo me.
Good defense matrix.
I'm doing my best to do everything I possibly
I can
You
touch.
lost your McCree.
I can touch this. Get the group.
Great. Good awareness. Oh no!
Diva, why didn't you get on the point?
Yeah, fuck you, Diva.
Point.
I'm gonna flame you,
I
you
see you on
piece
the
of shit.
point.
You didn't touch the point. You know what? Everyone else is making mistakes constantly all match long, but you didn't touch. So that loss was your fault, you piece of shit. Uninstall the game. You're trash. You're a waste of oxygen. Hard stuck diamond. God damn. Useless pieces of turd. Why do you even play this game? Why do you even play this game? Anyway. Okay, that was pretty good. Be a playmaker. Don't reflexively use your defense matrix. Recognize how you're going to play around Orisa Shield, whether you're breaking it or going through it. What else is probably the main thing? Don't waste your cooldowns. That's probably like the main 4 points for you. Okay, well, we are going to do this YouTuber's VOD now. Okay, let me go find it. Streamlabs. I'm actually kind of enjoying sub-only reviews because I can actually read chat, and if you guys have a question, then I can actually answer it. Where is this VOD? Where is this VOD? There it is. Okay, it's a console VOD too. What rank is this? I'm sub? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Markwind with the 200 bits says, I know you primarily deal with PC, but do you know what scoped and unscoped accuracy I should No, I'm not. Accuracy doesn't matter. Just bang on. Aspen, stop, man. Bang on the table. Espen, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that, Espen. I don't know why you're being so generous this evening, but I appreciate it. I hope you're having a great Friday, and you're finally free from work. I know your work hasn't been treating you the nicest these days, so that's very kind of you. But yeah, accuracy does not matter. I'm not even going to give you even a percentage range. Hit the shots that you know you should hit. If you miss and you're like, I could have stayed alive if I hit that, and that was a very makeable shot, for lack of a better term, well, then I guess you got to practice it out so you don't miss next time. AKC with the 200 bits says, how can you be a playmaker as a support in low ranks? I'm trying to help my friend in silver who is new but don't have the answers. You are a playmaker as a support through either using your utility or the usage of your ultimate. So nano boosts, boom. Like how you use your nano boost, clutch nano on somebody to keep them alive. Use it on your Genji to team wipe. Your barriers and your transcendences, that's how you make plays. You can counter push, you can save your entire team and give them the resources to push back. So a playmaker on a support, if assuming you're not talking, comes from the utility, discording the right targets at the right time, booping people, speeding people around to force engagements that the opponent doesn't want to get into, sleeping people, nading people, clutch uses of your ultimates. That's the healer's utility, and their ultimates is how you become a playmaker on support. I've got a Moira clip on YouTube if you want. Squid! You guys are too generous this evening. Much appreciated, Squid. Much appreciated, Squid. It's good to see you around. I know you've been around more recently, and it is good to see one of the originals.